Okie dokes. So, today's meeting, we're going to go over a few things. One, we're going to go over a little bit of the feedback forms that you guys filled out. Hickory made us aware of the last community meeting. So, we want to talk about all of that information he gave us, which is really, really helpful. So, once we talk about that, we also want to talk to you about the plans that we have for the server. And just before anything, no, none of these meetings are going to end with we're closing the server. So please don't think that. I didn't know that was a thing that happened before. Um, so I guess I got to start the meeting with no, that's not happening here or like that. This is not it. Um, and then what we're doing, and then the plan that we have for the tourism meeting. And I know some of you were able to attend yesterday, but I just want to kind of go over it a little more and just tell you guys where we are. Okay. So I guess um let's start fresh. During this time, we've been reaching out to the community. I've been talking to a lot of people, getting some feedback on other things, and one of the things that stood out to me was kind of not funny at all, but kind of a horrible coincidence, I'm going to say. That they kind of told me the story about how everything went down the first time that this server shut down, that it all started with a survey for everybody to do, and then you guys were called for a meeting, and then during that meeting it just abruptly ended and the server was closed. So I can see how that was a lot of PTSD, unintentional, because we didn't know that story. And I think it was just a really bad coincidence that happened. But again, that's not what's going to happen here. We're not doing that. We're not those kind of people. And we actually have the desire and the drive to be here for quite a long time, even if it's, just hanging out. I mean, you in the development server, we end up having some fun, so I'm sure that we can just have fun and stuff. So with that said, I kind of started reflecting on that story, and here's the thing. Um, I think a lot of the people who were here from 1.0 had a really bad experience with that, right? I mean, you guys just really, you'd build a home here, you'd put your effort into here, you put hours into this, and then find out, it's just gone. There's a lot of emotions with that, and there's a lot of anger with it, I think. For me, I would be really angry, very angry, and very sad. So the thing I think that is kind of creating what I would say a little bit of an issue with us and the staff and the community is that just as we came in and we said, hey, we're going to give you a second chance, right? If you got banned before, you can come in again. We're going to put that, aside because we don't know you guys from 1.0. So we were willing to give everybody a second chance and let you guys prove yourself again. And it's been a great thing that we did because we've met some of you that were previously banned for whatever reason. And you're here now and you've made a really significant change in the community and it's been good. But with that said, I think that sometimes you guys have to remember that me and Sai, we bought the server, but we have nothing to do with the previous staff. We never got to know Bobby. Or I think we met him maybe or talked to him over Discord maybe 2 weeks before we even started talking and just about the server and purchasing the server. But we never had a friendship. We never had a communication. And we also didn't with any of the staff here. So we also came in thinking that this was going to be just a second kind of start for the server. And I think sometimes from when I hear that some of you guys are a little bit like cautious or maybe a little jaded or maybe a little bit expecting of things to go bad, you have to remember that this is a whole different team. Yes, we do have a couple of people that are here from Ignite Point One, but it's not the same team and it's not the same type of management. They're not the same type of intentions either. I mean, I've just heard some stories about you know, Bobby making all this money, then going on vacation. I mean, we're not here for the money. Honestly, we're just here for providing a good place for us to be, for us to spend our time because we like to spend our time online. We want to have a good home, and we can't have a good home without a good community, right? A good neighborhood to live in. And that's ultimately what we want. It's been our goal to, when we bring in MLOs, when we bring in things, we don't want to charge you guys for them. We don't need to charge you guys for them. We just want you guys to enjoy what we're building. Like that has always been our goal, to make something that people can enjoy. And we put a lot of work into it. And not only us, and not only our staff, but there are so many players on the server who have also put in hours and time and dedication just to make this work. So we're very appreciative of that. And this is why, we have that responsibility where we can't just say, well, we're good and done. So that I wanted to clarify, and I want you guys to remember that, like, we're not the same people, and we don't have the same intentions. So when you guys feel a little frustration, really, if you talk to us, if something happens, we're not quick to ban anybody. I think we've never banned somebody for any reason other than they broke a rule. We don't say, well, we don't like this person, they're going to go. Like, that's just, we don't really, that's just not us. So that's what I kind of wanted to put out there before we continue, because it gets forgotten, and I think it's an important thing to keep in mind. So with that, then I'll start to go into the responses from the meeting, and Hickory was good at telling us a lot of the stuff you talked about, and we think it was really healthy for you guys to talk. The reason we were not at that meeting is because we wanted to give you guys that space to speak freely, because again, we heard some people thinking, well, we can't say anything, they're going to get mad, they're going to get upset. And we didn't want you guys to have a meeting with those feelings. We wanted you to come in here and be able to say what you needed to say, talk to each other, get your thoughts together, and then give it to us so that we can process it and come back to you. So it wasn't that we're not interested in attending the meetings. We just purposely didn't want to come to that one. And Hickory was awesome at moderating. So I think it was a really, really good
Good morning.
chat.
Good morning.
There he is. So yeah, I think that was, and we've been at every other community meeting. I mean, we don't have community meetings that we don't attend. We attend all of them, but this was the reason why we didn't want to be at this one, just because that was needed. I think it was very much needed. No, Julio, we were not on vacation. Um, so with that said, let's go into a little bit of the feedback forms, and I kind of broke it up into two sections. One section which is the background, development work, the actual server things, and so I can give us a little more information on that. And then the other part is more of the role play things and the society things and community things that we all should work on together. That we should make this server better. Um, so just to touch on some of the things that were given feedback. I don't know how many people we have in the police department here, but as far as the police department, one of the big things that was a feedback was the handling with vehicles, and that is currently being worked on, and that has been kind of like one of our big headaches since we kind of started, because we had one person start on the cars, then another person took over working on the cars. And as you guys know, when there's two people working on things or three people, it just kind of, gets a little messy. But now we have, again, another person that has done this many times, and they're very aware of what to do. So we're hoping that this will finally get addressed the way it would. Our goal, I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, honey, is to work on all the balancing and the cars. So when they're actually in the server, all you have to do is maybe take it to Benny's to get those upgrades and make it, look pretty. And there's also some parts that you can get at Benny's, I believe. Um, and again, I don't know a lot about cars, so forgive me about this because I'm kind of a little bit lost. So basically, we're not going to have those tablets to make the cars go faster, because that just gives everybody an unfair advantage. But with police, going back to police, they just need better vehicles, which we're aware of, and we're looking at seeing how we're going to balance those out. Another thing is a better evidence script, and I think we're already looking at that and just kind of expanding the firearms. And again, that's something where Sai is primarily working on this stuff. And the helmets for the motorcycle unit, I guess, is another action or another request. Um, and with this said, this kind of goes hand in hand with, we also had a lot of feedback about staff. And I think that one of the big things that was a disconnect between the community and us is that, when we're getting ready to put things into the server, usually we have this like list. We have a Trello board where everything kind of goes in there. So what we realized was happening was that some staff sometimes have conversations with people in the community and say, "Oh yeah, don't worry, I got you, I got this," or "No worries, like it's done, it'll get done." Which is great that they're reassuring the community, but at the end of the day, nobody has the ability to promise anything to anybody except for Sai. Not even me, because I could say I'll work on it. I told you guys, okay, I'll try my best and I'll do my best because at the end of the day, whatever goes into the server is with Sai, And I'm pretty convincing, so that's a good thing. But even I can't say, oh, consider it done. It'll be in an hour. It'll be in 2 hours. I can't promise you that because that's not up to me at all, and that's not up to any of our staff members either. So when you talk to them about things, when you talk to them about issues, they can update you if they know what's going on, but none of them have the ability to tell you this is going to get done. Because unless it's on our board and unless you heard it from Sai and sometimes from me, most likely we don't even know that that's been requested. And a lot of the things that PD was waiting on or thinking that they were going to get, it was a really long list that we were not even aware that was asked for. But somehow they had been promised these things months ago, and we understand where that frustration is. So, if you're being told you're going to get something and then you see other people or other services or other jobs getting things and you're kind of getting passed over, it's not because, we're intentionally doing it. One is because the priorities list, what's best for the server. Two, what's best for a group. And three is what's best for an individual. But then the ultimate thing is if we don't even know you're waiting for something, that's just never going to come. And it's not because we're ignoring you. You know, we just want to make sure that you have a direct line to us and you've always had that. The tickets, we read every single ticket. Management tickets, we always answer those because those are our tickets. We're the only ones that see them. So you always have this direct line to ask us, like, hey, I was told this or I was told that. Is that happening? And we're happy to answer you. So that's a big thing where we've kind of talked to staff and said, hey, be really cautious that when you're talking to the community, we don't make those promises, not even in passing, because to the community, it feels like, well, they're staff, they should be able to do this or they're going to do this. So just keep that in mind that unless you heard it from Sai or from me, most likely we don't just pretend that we don't know about it yet. Okay. Um, we'll talk more about staff in a bit. So yeah, things are not if you have a ticket, we'll either tell you, it's been put on the board, which is means, yeah, it's something that's broken and we need to work on it. So if it's on the board, like I said, that board is what all the developers work off of. So if it's on the board, it's going to get work done. If we have no idea, never got on the board, and the ticket was open and closed, and you never heard that it's getting on our board, then most likely it's not going to get addressed, and people forget, things fall through the cracks. So make sure that we're either telling you that or we'll tell you yes this works or give you more of a I think more information was a big downfall too, that when people were saying, hey, I'm having an issue with this thing but it's not working and we knew it was working, it would have been better to say, yeah, it is working, maybe try XYZ instead of saying it's working, find out in city, right? We need to be a little bit more a little better with communication as far as that, and that's something again that we talked about, and we're going to try to do better when it comes to that. That's a good point. So then we go back to the survey. We're moving to criminal systems. So for PD, that's all we had essentially when it comes to server things on the script side of things. And then moving to hold on. Moving to the criminal part of things. Sorry, I'm just trying to read a. Okay, sorry. The criminal part of things was the reward versus risk balance, and I think this again had to do a lot with just having different people work on different things. Um, Sai has been working on redoing crime. I don't know how much time now, honey? Kind of a while, no?
For about a month and a half.
Yeah. So when that started coming in, essentially he had to take things and redo them because yeah, crime was very complex. We don't do crime. We spend our whole time working on the server, and when we do RP, we're in there RPing government stuff and getting things in, and we really haven't had a lot of time to role play, and we really never are going to do crime, but that's just not what we do. So because of that, we weren't able to see the entire process of what crime was and come to see like, yeah, it was extremely, extremely complex. And for a server to be working well, you need to have petty crime where people who just came in can do. You need to have, mid type crime when you have, criminals that just want to do crime, and then you have the larger things for professional criminals or organizations, things like that. And that's something that he's been working on. And if you've seen it, there are a lot of petty crimes now that are just easy to go in and do. They're kind of fun because it's more, realistic. Of course, like you could do this and you could do that. So there's a lot of little petty crimes that he's put in. There's mid-level crimes, and then the big idea for the crime or for the organized crime is the missions that he's working on. And I don't know how much information you want to give about that, honey, but up to you.
I don't want to give any information. I put the FAQ in that lists all of them, but they need to be found out in city.
Yeah, so there's a lot. If you look at the FAQ, he did list the crimes that are currently available, and there's also a list of activities are there. So check it out. I mean, again, they're not as complicated. They're not, you don't need a whole hour to do. Some are just really simple. You can just do them, check them out, and have fun with it. So yeah, I mean, a lot of things you do have to find out, and those of you who know, help each other out. Make it a thing. I don't know, like it's just it's up to all of us to kind of make sure that we share that information, especially with new people coming. You want to share that information. You don't want to kind of leave them out wondering because people get frustrated. But the crime is there. It's been redone and it's still being worked on. And it's not the same as it was before. That complexity is gone, and it'll just be a lot better. And it is a lot better, actually, a lot funner because even I can do the crime. So that tells you a lot. If not that I have, but if I wanted to, I could, right?
And
So then
also,
the next,
if you do find something in a crime that you're just stuck on or that you think is broken, definitely let us know. We'll test it. We'll make sure if it's working or not. We're not going to tell you what you're doing wrong or anything, but we will test it out, make sure it's working, or if it's not working, we'll fix it. But we don't have any issues being told something's broken or opening a ticket for it to see. So if there was in the past, yeah, if there was in the past where some staff was rude about things, that's where we're changing things, right?
yeah, definitely. And again, that's kind of like what we're talking about, just talking with staff, making sure that we're more conscious of the way we address things because, of course, we're all here to have fun. We're all here to have a good time. So, if maybe we're not feeling it or we're not feeling like we're having a good day, maybe that's just not a good day to answer tickets or, do things like that. So we are working on that feedback as well. Um, Moving from crime, we're going to DOJ. And of course, one of the things that I guess was the issue that we already voted on was you guys wanted to serve crime offline, which is already a thing. You guys voted. That was pretty easy. We didn't mind either way. So if you guys want it that way, that's cool. And there are some of those things that we don't mind either way. So we're fine with putting that to a vote. Some things we can't put to a vote because they do have to do with the server health and they do affect a lot of people. But the things that we can and the things that are really, not going to change anything either way, or they're just a preference, we're happy to, turn it over and have you guys opinionate on it, which is fine. So that's been changed, which is one of the bigger issues. And then uh, 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 the more interactive or public sentencing systems is why the bail system came back. I think a lot of people have negative feedback about the bail system, but I could tell you that only one person has been through the bail system right now. So for us, it's hard to take that feedback of it's bad and it doesn't work unless we know exactly what part of it is bad. If you go through the system and say, oh, well, you know what, I did this and this made it so that, it was bad, we'll totally hear you out. But anytime that we put something in to the server, anytime that we make a change, when we hear in the first hour, the second hour, it's not good, it doesn't work, that kind of thing is hard for us to like work on because there's no feedback on it. There's just preference. There's just what you like or you don't like, but there's no actual content of what needs to be changed, what needs to be fixed, what needs to be um worked on. So this is why, the bail system is there. It's there for you guys to test out, to use, and to give us feedback. Without the feedback, we don't know if it needs to be, reworked, taken out, or, reimagined or something. So it's really important for you guys to try these things out before you start saying like this is not working, right? Sorry. So that is one of the things that mechanically we were working on. So the serving time offline that was done, and then the bail system. I mean, try it out, and then give us some feedback, and then from there we will move from there. So for the EMS, the feedback there was expanded call variety, so allowing for more diverse medical scenarios, which is why we introduced the sickness, the illness. That will make it so that you kind of have to go see your doctor now because you have a cold or a cough or something. I mean, it is to promote that medical RP without waiting to get shot or waiting to get in a car crash. If we're in a slow burn RP, we should see our doctor, right? Regularly. We should go look for help with aches and pains and colds. I mean, this is something that happens in life. Now, it's not set so that everybody gets sick. It's like what's the percentage, honey, for illness?
It's 1 in 200 every 48 hours?
Okay, so 1 in 200 people is gonna get sick. Do they get sick if they're near each other? Do they get each other sick?
No, not yet, but I can do
Okay.
that.
Okay. I think we're we're still testing out the getting sick. But I mean it's actually fun. You get to go and you go see your doctor and you have a cold. I mean, honestly, like it's just adding something else for you guys to do your story or go ahead and think about, all the things that your 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 characters can do, right? So it's just important to kind of keep that in mind, like, while these things are added on. And medical definitely does need that RP. They're more than just kind of like a toll booth. You don't just go in there, get fixed, and walk out. Give them something to work with. And then when you walk out of there, there's your illnesses, there's your pain. Like there's something to do with it, just as much as you like your RP as a cop or at City Hall. EMS also likes to do that. So, you know, um, go ahead and give them that. The business systems with this one, we are looking at balance in the overall server. I mean, there's a lot of different points to come up with businesses. The business prices for a business is pretty low because we want you guys to be open. We want you guys to open a business. We give you, you do your lease deposit and then you have 30 days to pay that off. If you don't make it in 30 days, no one has ever been, you know, no one has ever been admonished for it or nothing. You just get more time. I mean, it takes time. And obviously, when there's no customers, we're going to know there's no way for you to have all the money for your business right away. It kind of makes sense, right? So we're fine with waiting as long as you need to, but the reason the prices are low for businesses is because they need to be open. We want them to be open. So that's one thing. And then if you're upset about the cost of businesses, this is all city legislation. You guys have the power to change this, arrange it. You guys have all the ability. Anything that's city legislation is up to you guys. What is in the Constitution is our basically state law, right? No, the licensing, that's the city. The licenses, the alcohol licensings, that's city legislation. That has nothing to do with SBA. SBA leases your property, and all we have control of is your property lease. So yeah, we do the cost of the business, but the business licenses and the fees, all that, that's with the city. So there's a really clear separation of what is in the Constitution, what comes from government, and what are the things that you guys can go ahead and change. And honestly, it depends on the lease that you have because I know that Rebel Radio was really cheap, but other businesses that are gonna make more money obviously pay a higher price. So it depends on the business that you have. Like the creamery is pretty cheap. It was even cheaper than that because it's a really small location and it's just ice cream. So yeah, it depends on how much your business is going to make, where it's located, and how you're going to run it. That it should be, and actually that's cheaper than other businesses. So yeah, it's cheap. So keep that in mind that we don't just arbitrarily pick numbers. You guys have to work on your business plan and see how it kind of works because there's a way to make money there, and you could charge for ads. But anyway, there's just a bunch of different things. Um, Going back to businesses, with the SBA, I just want to clarify that while the city is an RP thing, like you guys go to the city, there's jobs, there's things to do, there's all this legislation. That's definitely something you do, but the SBA is more of a government facility where we're trying to, in a way, work the RP behind distributing out resources like MLOs. So it's not like it's an RP business. It's more of a our bridge between what we do in the development side to what we bring into the server side. So it's a little bit different, and I just kind of want to explain the difference between those two because it's not like it is with City Hall. It's not always going to be staffed. It's not always going to be working the way City Hall does. It's a separate government entity. And then with that, I think we move over to housing. And even though you guys feel like housing is expensive, we are changing the prices of some of the lower housing, but mansions cost what mansions cost. I mean, if you work to the point where you've gotten a mansion, it's a slow burn RP server. um I've been alive so many years of my life, and I've not yet been in a mansion or have a mansion or own a mansion. I don't know how many of you live in a mansion. But you know, you guys should really kind of think about that fact that, you know, um it just takes time. Other housing, there's housing available for everybody with price points that works. There's, anything from a trailer down to houses at Mirror Park that are affordable, that are not the prices of mansions. So if you want to live in Rockford, you're going to pay a Rockford price. If you want to live in Vinewood, that's the price. But everything else is going to be, you know, affordable housing for people who live in a normal or mid-size housing. Let's see here. And yeah, just to clarify, the Playboy Mansion is for the standing mayor. So when the mayor leaves the mansion, I mean, leaves the position, the new mayor takes the mansion. And that's a perk of being the mayor. The job of being a mayor for the city is a heck of a hard job. There are so many things that go behind the scenes. And I mean, if Kelly gave you guys a list of what the mayor and deputy mayor has to do, definitely it's a lot. So the Playboy Mansion is the mayor's mansion. It is not something he will own forever, but once he stops being the mayor, then this will go to the next mayor, and so on and so on, because it's, you know the mayor's mansion. If the mayor decides to let the deputy mayor live there, or he decides to let all of City Hall live there, it's up to his prerogative or her prerogative, because during the time that they're mayor, they have the mansion. And it's also an incentive. If you want to live in the mansion, run for mayor, right? I mean, it's kind of like the White House. President gets elected, they get to live in the White House. Pretty simple. So it's not something that he owns forever. It's just something that, the mayor has. Let's see. What else was it? I think that was it. Again, we are relooking at some of the pricing as it comes to cars, housing, and jobs. I mean, everything we're kind of looking at right now to kind of rebalance it. So even though you think that things are, a certain way, wait until we finally say, okay, this is what it's going to cost. And now, things may cost something right now, and then as the server gets more populated, of course, things will change, but we'll let you know when things are set the way they're going to be. Right now, just think of it as everything is there as far as pricing, but it is not set in stone, and it is going to change. So whatever complaints you have about either housing or cars or whatever it is, it's going to change. So wait until we tell you it's done to give us that feedback. Cool. And then let's see. Let's go to, I think, for as far as the scripting and the development stuff, I mean, this was most of it. Um, Sales tracking, advertising. I know that we were looking into a poster script, but that didn't work out. It just, wouldn't work, and it wouldn't be persistent. So we're gonna look into some other way of advertising as far as billboards and a different type of script. But for now, that one we tried wasn't working. So we do want to have personalized billboards and posters. That'd be something that's great for the city, and you guys could design that, put those up, and it would give it a different feel. So we're really excited about bringing something like that in. Um, and then I think for the most part that was it. Does anybody have questions about scripts or kind of like things like that, just of things server related that are like more development related? Again, not pricing because that's changing. That's being worked on. So anything else that you guys questions before I move on? I'm actually pretty good on time right now. I'm waiting. Mm-mm-mm. I mean, it should be better to work in a business, right? I mean, it should be an incentive to want to have a business where you can role play, where you could actually do interact with other people. That's what this server is about, role play. It's not about grinding a job or, just being here to make money. It's about trying to interact with other people, meet other people, and build a story behind it. So I think that's just something that we kind of have to think again, like, what is a priority? Do you want to just have everything kind of mechanically and easy, but you also want to have the ability to role play? And no, nobody wants to sit in a business for 2 hours, of course not. But it kind of goes hand in hand. If we have people attending the businesses, right? Then you don't have to be there alone waiting. So there's like a lot of things. And again, the job center jobs were already balanced, so those are pretty good. And yeah, exactly, Ivan. You guys need customers to operate a business. Nobody wants to sit there for 2 hours. So if you have customers, that makes it a lot more fun, right? Um, I guess that's all for as fact the fact of server stuff, like server mechanic stuff, related stuff. Okay, then let's go on to I'm gonna go fix this report. This one about community feedback, just in overall feedback about roleplay culture, community, and improvement. So for the police department, morale issues were addressed. They need more support, more inclusion, more mentorship. And again, these things that I'm going to go over, they're important. They're highly important for the server. But please realize that when it comes to Sai and me, we don't have a lot of say in this, because this is all up to you guys. This is all that you guys should know, that is the feedback. Because if you're feeling this too, we kind of have to stop and think, okay, well, how can I collaborate to this to make it better? Like, what can I do as far as these issues to help make it better? Because in order for us to have a good community, we all have to pitch in, right? There's no way that we can go and stand in front of you and tell you how to RP, or tell you what to RP, or who to be. Nobody could do that. But maybe if you hear the feedback that was given, you guys should kind of give us ideas, or what can be done to make this better. So the leadership was addressed again with PD, and I think we have been working a little bit with leadership to make it a little better, and it has been working. But change always takes time. With criminal RP was the gatekeeping that we talked about already. Um, People prefer crime to be more RP driven than mechanical, which is great. So that would be really nice if I think that's where the petty crime that Sai put in now, the crime is more realistic. It's not so mechanical that you have to go find thing after thing after thing to get somewhere. It's pretty much either immediate, or you can work for a little bit and get a little more, or you can really go through the whole process and get a bigger payout, which is how it should be, right? And then just police interactions with criminals. They just want to be responded to fairly and creatively. Criminals want cops to be a little more creative with their stops and their interactions. um, and then RP, it says RP tension is requested. So I'm not sure about that, about what you guys mean by RP tension, but to the officers, this is kind of the feedback that they want a little bit of tension. Um, so I mean, I'm gonna let you guys figure that one out. Um, Going back to DOJ roleplay, again, we're talking about the bail system. There's obviously not enough lawyers. That's been something that's been a big issue. So, I mean, being a lawyer, honestly, you just have to know the Constitution, the laws of our state back and forth. And I think that anybody who feels a little bit confident can try it out. I know that our lawyers and our justice system, the Chief Justice and Amber, have always been willing to help people, teach people, and help them work out if they wanted to do that. So if that's something that you're interested in, there's support for you. You don't have to come in knowing how to be a lawyer already to be a lawyer. Same with EMS. If you want to do these roles, there should be people there in leadership that are going to help you to make sure that you can be in the roles and eventually move up in them. So that's just really important, you know? And then civilian business, again, we're looking at um, the economy right now. So again, all the questions about things being too much or too little. When we do this change, we'll let you guys know and see, how it goes. And it says people. I got a comment saying that it feels like it's cops and robbers, but to be, it feels like it's more civilian centered. I think we have a server that's pretty civilian centered, as opposed to cops and robbers. So we kind of got to find that balance. And then I think that was like most of it. I just, from what we got from it, this was the RP side of it and the mechanic side of it, and then we go into the staff side of it, which again, we don't know there was issues with staff. We do know we have things that we need to work on, and that's something that we'll continue talking, and it's an open conversation with us because one, we have to keep sometimes getting reminded. I have to keep getting reminded when I'm getting a little bit tired or frustrated that I have to kind of step back and just see things more objectively, and I think all of us are the same. And also, we have to remember that, if we're volunteering for the position, we're here to help people and support people. That's the job. That's our job, to help and support and to step in when rules are being broken, not step in anytime we don't like something. It's not a preference. We're here to moderate, which is look over the community, not police and not enforce it, to what we feel. It's more like, okay, if a rule's being broken, we're going to step in because that's a rule. Everybody knows a rule. But, sometimes people will say something we don't like, and that's fine to say as long as you keep it respectful, as long as you communicate respectfully. I mean, we won't have an issue with it. And then the biggest thing that I wanted to address is that there's this rule that you guys say that you're not allowed to talk about 1.0. I don't think anybody ever directly said you are not ever allowed to talk about 1.0. The intent where that started was at the beginning. We asked not to be compared with 1.0 because, again, different management. I think about 90% of the scripts that were available in 1.0 are gone now. You have very little that's left from those scripts because most of them were broken. They didn't have features, they were just ultimately broken. So they had to be replaced. So when you're constantly saying, or we make a change and then you say, well, this wasn't the case at 1.0, well, that doesn't matter because this isn't 1.0. We're not saying don't talk about it. We're just saying this isn't 1.0. So it's not going to be like 1.0. That's just the whole thing. We want you to go ahead and make friends and talk to people, and you can talk about your memories because that's what brings you guys together, right? That's what brings everybody here together because you initially made those connections in 1.0. So no, I don't feel like you can't talk about it. I don't think Sai feels the same way. We just want to make sure that you understand that this isn't 1.0, and whatever was in 1.0, if it's not here, it's not going to be here. And if you are kind of trying to be open to people, just make sure that new people don't feel excluded, that it doesn't feel like you're in this little 1.0 kind of gang and they can't join, because we should be open to new people. We should make them feel welcomed. We should make them feel like um, they need to be allowed here. And yes, that I think that's one of the biggest things. I think a lot of people seem to fly in and be themselves. They just are themselves and they just are who they are. You fly in here and there's no really character behind it. There is no story. There is no difference in who you are outside of the server with who you are inside of the server. And that's an issue. If you don't feel like you're playing the role of someone else, then are you really doing serious RP? And that's a big thing. I think it is a huge thing, but it's also up to us to hold people accountable when they do these things. And especially if it's staff, don't let it fly by. Call their attention to it, because if staff is not being an example for you guys, they need to be told. They need to be told that this is not working, and you shouldn't let that slide just because it's staff. That's just not a thing where that should be happening. I don't know if you guys understand that, but Just because someone is staff doesn't give them any kind of ability over the rules that you don't have. The rules apply to everybody. Yes, Jerry, even you. So just make sure that you guys understand this with me and Sai, and the staff knows, and they'll tell you. We've always told them that the rules apply to everybody. So if you feel that someone isn't living up to that rule, you need to report it so that we're aware. Not because we're going to kick about or, we're just going to say, hey, be a better example. Because ultimately, the staff should be people that you look up to, right? The staff should be people that you can go to for support, and the staff could be people should be people that are also teaching you or giving you that knowledge when you need it, especially for newer players, right? So if we're not living up to that standard, communicate so that we're not letting things happen and become a bad habit, and it just keeps happening and happening and happening until it's way too late, right? So let's just remember that if that does happen, we call everybody out like, hey, what is this, what is that happening? Or we should be serious. I don't think anybody ever said we're not serious, but I think everybody took a very relaxed attitude at some point, and it shouldn't be that way, the biggest thing that I notice, just from what I notice from just around, when the reason that I liked Ignite so much before is because every time I watched something, it was like a story. It was like something that I was invested in, like, oh my god, what's going to happen with this person? What are they going to do tomorrow? What are they going to do? you know um there was just so much investment going on in the stories, and now it's like people are just coming in and leaving, coming in and leaving, but there's no continuity to their story. There's no building to their story. So think about that too. Like, we have to start focusing on the serious RP, and this is a serious RP server. So when people are not doing serious things, we should call them out. um Staff, do any of you guys have anything to add to it? Nope.
I surprisingly enjoyed the mail system. I will admit that. That I surprisingly enjoyed. Although I'm the only one to go through it, I uh, I enjoyed it. It was actually kind of funny. You know, it was a fun experience to be able to do that all in one go and not have to wait so long. And fucking Mr. Harris was funny and it was enjoyable. All the cops enjoyed it. Yeah, so I'd say give it a crack. Go get taken. Yeah. Oh yeah, and the washing the windows. That was so freaking annoying, but I loved it. It was good. It was really good fun.
Was that your consequence from getting arrested?
Yeah, I had to go watch the I had to go watch the PD windows for 10 minutes, and I cussed out everyone for 10 minutes.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, don't knock something till you try it. There's been a lot of changes that came in. Um, and yeah, Amber, the same question, same answer. We are a serious server. We need to start calling each other out for not doing serious server things. I mean, that never changed. It hasn't changed. But if we have a relaxed attitude towards it, so will everybody else. So, let's step up our game. Everybody
I
should be
just,
doing it.
I just have
Yeah.
one thing to add.
Hmm.
Again, you already touched on this, but I guess it's really important that everybody knows, like, if you encounter somebody in staff that's not doing serious roleplay, they're breaking rules, they are not living up to the standard. If you don't feel comfortable opening up a regular ticket, then please use the management outreach. That's why it's there. We want to make sure you guys are comfortable when you're reporting things to staff, whether it be moderators, senior moderators, or to Sire Jesse, but those things do need to be reported. So please use those lines of communication.
Another big thing too is the moderators, our staff is just very limited to what they can do in the live server now as far as what abilities they have. It's very, very limited. But if you still feel that that's being abused in any way, please report that immediately, because that's not supposed to happen with anybody. That's a very strict rule that we have. And I think that, again, some people think, oh, they're staff, they're not going to do anything. Again, we're not going to, unless it's something egregious, we're not looking to kick people out, but we need to address it and talk about it and make sure that doesn't happen again, because that's not what staff is here for. Staff is here to support you and help you, and yeah, they have their own time and their own things to do, and that's awesome. And we really encourage them, what, when you're doing your RP, don't worry about staff. That's why there's a lot of us, right? There's a lot of us just here to support each other, so don't worry about it. But just make sure that we're not using the skills that we have to gain things for ourselves or for our friends. That should never be the case with staff. So, mhm. Yeah, we are going to be adding some new staff soon. I think we're focusing more on the dev staff right now. And we are maybe possibly going to add one or two people to our mod staff. But we're still kind of deciding on that. And then the people who are on LOA, yeah, they are definitely let us know when they're on LOA. So, life happens. We're not going to say you can't be off, you can't do anything. Life is always first. Life is always, I mean, it's life, right? This is at the end of the day a video game. Everybody volunteers their time. So we're in no way going to say, oh, no, you don't have the time. We're just going to get rid of you. And, they put in a lot of time into the server as well, and we respect that and we appreciate it. So if they let us know, hey, I'm going to be gone for some time, we can wait. Unless they tell us, we're done, then, we'll know that they're done. So, yeah, I mean, staffing is very important. And again, unless they told us, they're pretty much done, that's all we can do. And we let them take time off when they need it. Everybody needs it sometimes. We don't want people to get burned out. And we just want everybody to ultimately, the bottom line is we are using our spare time to be here. We might as well be happy when we're here and have a good time. And if that's not happening, we need to step back and realize why. But it is up to a lot of you too to help make the environment that you want to see, right? Whether it's, what's the word? Like, I guess cracking down on non-serious RP, on just building stories with more content. Like, definitely build stories with more content, and just helping each other out. I mean, the biggest and most important part of this was the community, and you guys are here. So, it means that you guys are all still invested in making this work to help each other out. You know, um, the other thing I was gonna say, I don't remember, but if anybody has, and again, Callie, I just said that we're working on payments, so the feedback doesn't really. I mean, unless we tell you that it's already been worked on and done, but then we can address it. But right now, it's being worked on. And I said when we tell you guys that it's completely done and you know finished, then we're happy to take that feedback. But right now, all of the economy needs to be reworked. That's just in general everything that money touches, we're working on. Um, so yeah, if you guys have anything or staff has anything to ask that we didn't address, please, it's an open floor. Ask about it now. So we have time, and we didn't go a whole hour, almost an hour, but we have some time. So if you have a question, comment, or concern, one last call, staff. You guys have anything to add? No? Okay. So raise your hands. We have questions. Start taking questions or just comments or feedback. And again, no one's going to get in trouble. No one's going to get banned for giving us feedback. No one's going to get um none of that stuff happening. So we're definitely open to it. Questions, go ahead and raise your hand and we'll pull you up to the stage. Hey Amber,
Hello, can you hear me? I forget my push that button.
we got you.
Okay, good. Hey everybody. I don't know this is much of a question. Are you guys only taking questions or suggestions or ideas?
Anything, questions, suggestions, ideas,
Okay.
go for it. Yeah.
Um, how do I put this? I think we need to try to. Ideally, ultimate goal is to get great role players and great people in the server, absolutely. But I think we also should keep an eye out, and I know you guys are already doing this, but I just want to kind of reiterate, people who stream, not have to be big, absolutely not huge streamers. We tried that before in 1.0 and didn't work out. But people with any kind of followers, because that's really what gets out there and advertises the server. I know I'm a streamer, but I'm not very good at it. I don't do it as a profession or anything. I literally just do it just to have a recording of my stories and to upload to YouTube. I'm not good. I know I am. That's fine. But I mean, if we can get some people who are actually kind of talented and are all good role players and kind of are talented at streaming and have a small following, even 20, 30 people, I think that would help the server a lot, get the as advertise it and promote it. So that's one suggestion I think to help advertise the server. And yeah, that's basically the main idea I can contribute towards that outside of the stuff that's been already discussed in the in character meeting, because those are a lot of good ideas.
Yeah, definitely. And that's one of the focus. I don't know if you guys saw that we updated the social channels. So we went ahead and cleaned up, that social media that wasn't being utilized, got new accounts to just start everything fresh because some of them we just didn't have access to. And the big push, out of city, what happened with that, the tourism meeting is the goal is to get content, to get content to put out there for advertisement. So if you guys look at the socials channel, if you put anything in VHS in the VHS channel and you tag it for TikTok or for Instagram, we're happy to take that and post it up on one of our on one of the Ignite accounts. So we want to make it so that that account is contributed by all of the community members, right? So we all can put our videos into there. We all can put our content into there. I mean, as long as, of course, we're not going to get, banned or something from it. But that's the idea. So if you guys have a video that you'd like to put on the Ignite accounts, just label it when you put it up there, whatever the title is, but add for TikTok or for Instagram. I think we also have a X account. Um, and something else. Jerry had a good idea. I don't know if he's still awake, but he can't say it because it's really late. But he had a really great idea that if you guys film things in first person and put like that VHS layout over it, it would look amazing because it's 1985, right? Everything happened on a camcorder. So he was saying that it would look great if you guys have personal things. It doesn't have to be an event. I mean, if you guys go on a date, record the date. If you're having not all of the date, but the appropriate parts of the date, if you guys have a private party, a birthday party, a pool party, I mean, record that, throw it on there. Let's put it up for content because that's what we want people to see, right? That you can build a life here, you can have a story here, you can just basically make it whatever you want to. And there's a lot of things that are in the city available to you to use. Again, go look at the FAQ. And there's so many activities that there are to do. If you guys want to contribute that way, we would appreciate it. So just put it up in the VHS. If you don't tag it for any of those social medias, we won't use it, of course. But if you are okay with us using it, or maybe some of your old VODs that you've had since we started here, that would be great too, because we really do want to make a big push for advertising. We didn't before because, as you all know, we've been in a beta version, and that's another big thing where we never said that this was a finished server. We never said that this was ready to go. All of you guys are here to test, right? So that when we are fully operational, everything runs smoothly. So all of your feedback is important, but I think sometimes people forget that we're testing. So something you might see today might not be here tomorrow, and we're not yanking it intentionally, and we're not, trying to punish people. Sometimes it just messes up the server. Like those crashes that happened, it took us so long to figure out what was messing with the server. And it's something that we want to have, but we can't because what happens? Everything crashes. So this is what we're trying to do when you're all here. We're trying to make sure the server is functional for everybody and stable. So just remember that until we do the big ol' okay, we're done, we're open. Things are gonna keep changing. But when things are set in stone, like well, not set in stone forever, but when they're ready to go, we'll let you guys know. Okay, this is what it's going to be. And no, we do not have an OnlyFans account, but we do have all the other ones and the social media ones. I think Hickory has one of those. So if you guys have it, I mean, honestly, put in your content. I know that
Wait. What?
you, you
Wait.
can run that one. You can run that one. But one thing I'm going to tell you guys, the focus for our dev team right now is to get everything stable, to get everything going. So I know that there's more things that we might want, right? Like the paintball thing. And that sounds so much fun. And, yeah, we're going to try. But the priority is to highlight the things that are already here. There are so many things that are already here. So let's just try to
And if I
bring
could
attention.
just add,
Oh, go ahead.
it's really easy for people to say, we want this, we want that. Why isn't this working? Why isn't that working? It's taken us 6 months to get to this point. Um, a lot of the scripts were completely broken when we got it. and probably 98% of them were over 3 years old. We were told at the very beginning, do not update any scripts because everything will break. That's what we were told. So it's taken us this long to do this much. And although we have tried to keep as many of the scripts that we could untangle and find where they were and what's connected to another script, I mean, the stuff was really intertangled with each other until, yeah, and we just couldn't. There's some things we just couldn't fix. We had to replace, or there was things that we had to update for security reasons. And when you update something, it breaks 10 other things. And even though we tested on dev, we have a full dev box. We test everything on dev. Sometimes stuff doesn't work on dev when you have 3 people that spawn 10 peds and 10 cars each, or you have 30 people that spawn 10 cars and 10 peds each. It's a big difference. So when we get it over here, and that's why it's been in a beta, and I think there it's really easy to forget that we are still in beta and have been in beta this whole entire time. Um, so if we don't put in something that only a couple people want right away, it's because we're working on things that affects everybody or the larger majority of people, if that makes sense. So I just wish people would keep that in mind. Except for TVs, I'll look at that today.
Did
That's
you
all
have
I got.
anything else to add, Amber? That was a really good topic that you brought up. Thank you.
No, no, that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the feedback and also for helping with stuff when I've been asking questions. So again, I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
I think Robert's coming up next.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can.
What's going on, guys? Hey, first I want to say, as someone who doesn't mind at all, I would rather call it the time during the server that cannot be named. Um, I've been around since the very beginning of that time, all the way through to now, and I just have an opinion, and things that I think, and honestly, I do not think you guys are anywhere close to what Bobby was. Although you can imagine the added PS TD when there was a meeting a couple of days ago and nobody knew anything about it. And unlike the other one, you actually came on a couple minutes before the meeting and said something. He just decided he didn't want to have it. That added to the PSTD. But anyway, I do know you guys are nothing like that. I wouldn't still be here if I thought that. Um, I do know that this is a outdated server that was totally fucked up by Bobby. And I do believe that you guys have been killing yourselves trying to take care of all this stuff. Um, but honestly, like I said, the way the server is, I don't ever see this server being a big MLO and mechanic server. This is an RP server with an incredible community. And honestly, I think where you guys have fallen flat is on the communication with the community. Things like not even posting that there was a community meeting, a couple days ago in a general announcement. Um, Things like, and you say real quick, there's a couple things you said I wanted to address. You said to send out a ticket, with management. Well, like I said, I'm thinking you guys are killing yourself with all these problems you're into. I don't want to open up a management ticket and waste your time with something. It'd be just as easy for me and I would be less frustrated if you reached out and said, hey, I know we talked 4 months ago about this SBA position. Either we're going another way or, something. That way I wouldn't, I don't want to bug you because I know you're busy because I don't think you have time to read it. But at the same time, if you have time to read it, you could probably send out a message. I think in-game and OOC communication between you guys and the community has to be much better.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that one of the things, as like I said before, um, when Sai and I are in the server, I think we get to do very little actual role play because we're in there every single time we come in. I'm gonna say 90% of the time that I come in there, it's for work related things, like server related things. I'm gonna say 99% of the time since Sai's in there, it's again working things. So because that's kind of more of on the role play side of it, to me there's so many things going on that it's going to fall out of my head, and I'm going to be reminded when I go back in there and read a letter. I'm like, okay, answer the letter. So I do need those tickets. I mean, I do need you to tell me like, hey, I'm waiting, because I won't remember because there's 100 other things that I'm trying to take care of. So it's hard for me to go back and be like, okay, well, this person needs this person needs that. So if I have it somewhere in front of me where I'm like, okay, that's still open and hasn't been addressed, we can get back to it. But other things I know that can be better, like big server things, big communication. That meeting was completely on me because I made the event, I didn't make an announcement, and I didn't remember to make the announcement. I literally told Sai about that meeting maybe 10 minutes before because I didn't even remember to tell him, which is like, God, like I really, really just messed it up because the night before we were up till 4, and the night before that we were up till 4. So I was just tired. And again, I mean, nobody's perfect. I'm human, I am not always going to do things 100% right, but we try, and yeah, communication could definitely be better as far as when things are going to change very significantly. We try to tell you, we try it the best we can to let you know. But when it comes to RP things, just understand that that's not somewhere where we've been able to spend any of our time even building a character or a story. Like we just have not had that opportunity. We want to get to that opportunity. I mean, that's the whole reason we reopen this, because we want to get there. We want to do something besides this government role that we have, right? So I mean, again, I ask for your patience, and if it really is something like that, it doesn't bother us at all to open a management ticket. And even though we're, doing this and this and that, we need those reminders because it helps us. Like if you want to help us, remind us. It's not going to be. I'm never going to snap at you for opening a ticket at all because I know that you're reaching out for help. So when someone's reaching out to me for help, to me it just goes, I'm like, oh, they're asking a question, what can I do? Right? It's never like a negative thing. I'm never gonna be like, oh, he's bugging me, or never. Because that's what the ticket's there for. It's for when you need help, you open a ticket. Like that just goes hand in hand. So I understand that, but you have to understand too, things like PDM, like real estate, like the SBA, these are jobs that can be very easily exploited. Very, very easily exploited, and one person, two people doing that can easily throw the server out of balance. So, yeah, we have to make sure that we're trusting people with those jobs and those positions. So, it is hard also for us to staff certain things because we need to make sure that things are going the right way, and even at that, we haven't always gotten it right. We put our trust in people, and sometimes that doesn't work out. We can only do so much. So, we're trying to be really careful. We're trying to safeguard the community by choosing the correct people, right? But there's just a lot on our plates. And at the end of the day, we have a great, great staff. I cannot tell you that they put in their time, they're putting their work. But at the end of the day, it's me and Sai just trying to get this going. And we're not complaining. Really, it's not a complaint because this is what we do. Like, this is really what we do in our spare time. This is how we spend time together. So it's actually nice because if not, we probably wouldn't spend any time together. So I like it. It's not a complaint, but just realize that it is just us. It's not like a huge team of professionals. We're all just trying to do our best. Some of us are moderating for the first time. Some of us are, trying our hand at developing with things. And again, we're all volunteering our time. So we ask for that patience and reach out. It's so much better if you just tell us things than sit there and get frustrated because you're not getting information. And if you tell me like, hey, this happened and nobody knew, maybe that'll prompt me to put out an announcement like, oh my gosh, let me tell people this, right? Because we can't be everything and everywhere at once. So that's actually helpful when you open up a ticket. It's
Yeah,
actually
and to be
helpful.
honest, to be honest, I didn't open up a ticket because I actually asked someone on staff if they knew if you guys meant to put an announcement up or not. I didn't want to step on your toes if you just wanted to test and see if the community,
Nope.
read announcements or something. Like I said, I asked, and they didn't know either. So I put something in general
Hmm.
about the meeting,
Yeah.
earlier, thinking, well, I'll just put it in general. That way, if they don't like it, they can delete it.
Right. Right.
But
No, and
also, I think you guys, honestly, this is a slow burn server, RP server. Slow burn it. Slow down on the what you're working on. Get in the city and have some fun and enjoy yourselves.
you know, we would love to, but honestly, the biggest thing is then we get that feedback of we're not putting things in, we're not listening. It's a very slippery slope because a lot of people perceive things that are happening that are not actually what's happening. And we really are. I mean, if I could pull up how many hours we put in here, I don't even want to know honestly because I'm gonna be like, what am I doing in my life, right? But I think that if you guys give us that kind of grace to let us slow down and to let us do things, then that's great, right? Um, but the problem is that we don't really get it from most of the community, to be honest with you, you know? And I think when we've tried to approach everybody in the city, I've been genuine, really, like when people come to us with ideas, especially like at the beginning when we didn't have a lot of stuff, and they give us this ideas, like we wanted to run with it because we hear your excitement. Like we hear your excitement about what you want to do, and we're like, boom, like if they're this excited, let's get on there, let's get on it because that's the love they're going to bring to what they're doing and it's going to transfer to the server, right? Because we were players once when we wanted to do things and our wants and needs fell on deaf ears, right? So
Right.
when we know what that feels like to be like, oh, but I have this really good idea and I really want to work it out, like, and we want to get to that as soon as possible because also when we don't, then you kind of lose that motivation too. Like, well, I told them this and that, not so I mean, yes, we really would like to slow down, but that would be for the community to also give us that opportunity to slow down and understand that we're not going to get to everything immediately, right? Or understand that if they see other things happening, it's because for some reason or another they took priority, or maybe that person has been waiting for months, they just haven't said anything, right? And maybe your request came in last week or 2 weeks ago. So, I mean, we're not the kind of people that are just going to say, yes to something and just leave it there, right? We'll tell you yes, but not right now. And then when it's time, we'll pick it up again, and we'll tell you like, oh, you know what? No, we can't do this. Or we'll say, yeah, actually, we're working on that right now. So when we have communications with you guys one on one, I could tell you with everybody who I've had a one on one conversation, we've been really clear with what we said, and then we follow through. That is just how we are. So when you communicate with us directly, that's no issue, but just realize that we're juggling so many things that although we try to communicate as best we can, we need nudges sometimes from the community, right? This happened.
Right.
What is it? Okay, cool. Never, ever, ever are you going to get snapped at in a management ticket unless you start with like bad words or, you come in with that attitude, of course, right? But that's never happened. And if it has happened, I don't think it has. I don't think that has been the way. I like to address things. I like to talk about things. I'm not a person that kind of gets pissed, and I just like to know what's going on. But we also need you guys to understand that we need your help in that way. Give us that time. Give us that grace to do what we're doing. You know, and
Right. Look, I don't want to monopolize the time up here. I will just say that the majority of people I talk to that leave the server don't leave the server because of a mechanic issue, or some do. Most of them leave the server because they never heard back from FIKA management about stuff, and nothing ever. All when you get nothing but silence, you get discouraged. I would suggest instead of just coming to you with a problem, I would suggest that you guys appoint a community manager. But that's something up to you. I think that community manager would take a burden off of your shoulders as far as dealing with the community.
yeah, it might be a good idea. It might be a good idea. But then again, like I go back to trust is a big thing. You know what I mean?
I get
So
it, and in the
yeah,
end, this is your guys' world. We understand. I think most of
yeah,
us understand that too.
yeah. And I mean, just we never know. People are people, right? So we hear you, and we definitely know from all the feedback, it was really helpful. Honestly, 100%. There was nothing on there that wasn't helpful because it helps us see where the community's at and what they're feeling, what they're thinking. So we do hear you, and I appreciate you, letting us know where we could do better too.
Of course.
Definitely. And
Thanks
and
for
um
thanks for giving me the
the
opportunity to talk.
and your grandmother's restaurant is ready to go.
Oh, I
By
know,
the way,
Kelly told me earlier.
I'm not gonna say what it is, but you're good to go.
All right.
Thank you, Robert.
Let's see you. Bye.
Bye. Cade, I think you're up next.
Uh, Hello?
Hello.
There we go. Um, yeah, so as Amber's already said, I think advertising is a bit that needs to be learned to look into. I think that having a role for those with experience like Rockstar filmmaker, is it Rockstar filmmaker? I can't remember what it's called. Um,
Rockstar
Rockstar
editor.
I
editor, that's the one.
Rockstar editor. Yeah, that's the one. Perfect. Um, People with experience with that could be best in mind for like making videos like cinematic wise and be good to post on the social media channel. I think it'll definitely be catching the eyes of people who scroll through like Instagram, TikTok, any kind of like a uh social media platform you guys post on. It'll be great because once something's like detailed and very like put into, it'll catch the eyes of people and get the people interested into the actual server and then have more applications pull through. But definitely something that can be good for the server. I think nothing that's major right now, but definitely something that can be great to have.
So you're saying like a tag for people that do social media?
I guess you could say that. Yeah, I guess
Okay.
it'd be like a separate role for those who are capable of doing those kind of things.
Mhm. Yeah, that's something we could look at. I mean, Jerry's helping us a lot right now, so maybe we might get together and think about what could be done on that end.
Yeah,
Thank you. Good
no worries.
suggestion. So definitely for now, I mean, look at those social media channels. That'd be helpful if you guys give us content to post up just to start building the channel up. I mean, follow it if you can too, if you want to. And yeah, definitely, I think something like that might be good, even to highlight the more experienced role players or maybe the people that have been here from day one, right? Like that'd be kind of cool to stand out and let people know that you've been here, kind of like a day one person for the server. I think that's something really cool. So let's see. Think we have. Sorry, I lost a little thing. Kelly. Hey, Kelly. You're up.
Hi. Okay, so earlier when you said that everything money touches is going to be looked at, I wanted to just have some clarity. Does that include properties?
Yes, it does.
Okay, because I know earlier when you mentioned if people have problems with businesses, go to City Hall, that's city legislation. But what I've been hearing from the citizens is that after breaking down the numbers with the applications, the business licenses, and alcohol licenses, what they're telling me, it's not the licenses and certificates that aren't devastating them, at least financially. I won't talk about paperwork, but
Mhm.
it's the leases. So Riley even said it like when you talked about addressing the issues with businesses, she said, I thought you were talking about leases and their prices, not the licenses.
Right, but it isn't the leases because they're not something that you're going to lose your business because you don't pay a lease. You know, like Riley, Rebel Radio, I don't remember, but you know, there are some businesses that still have not paid their leases and they've been open for months and months and months and they're still operating because to us it's more like, you know, get the business going. Basically they're paying the deposit to open the business. That's all it is. And if they take 30 days or they have there's been people that have now had 120 days and they've still not paid it. And they're not going to get their business taken away. The lease is a once a year thing that has to get paid. So as long as they pay it before the next one's up, I mean, of course, if they're trying, cool. If they're just not paying the lease because they don't want to pay it and they're making all kinds of money, obviously. But right now, there hasn't been that ability for people to make the money to pay the lease. So we're aware that they don't have it. We're not going to go after somebody who, I mean, there's no customer. So how are you going to make the money to pay that lease? So it would be an issue if people are going to lose their business because of the lease. So it really isn't. I think in a year, you know, 50K or 100K in a physical human year is not a lot for a GTA server.
So would that be able to be reworked? Because like Riley just brought up, the document, the SBA regulations, that say you have to pay in 30 days. So whether
Yes,
you,
30 days.
so it's up to the SBA's choice whether they want to enforce that or not. So that's
But
where
if
it
you,
gives them worry.
yeah, exactly. And if they send a letter and say we need more time, I mean, it's me. I'm fine with giving people more time. I'm telling you that there is no way that I would take somebody's business just because they don't pay the lease, unless we know, because we know when people have the money, right? We know when people have the money to pay a lease. It's not like I don't know. But if I see that people aren't making any money off of that business, it would be really unfair to be and go say, pay the business right now, right? Some people have been able to, and that's awesome, and other people have not. There's restaurants that opened way at the beginning that only paid $10,000 and still have not paid anything else because there hasn't been any customers. So, me, because I'm the only person that runs the SBA, who does the SBA, I'm conscious of who has the money or who doesn't to pay their leases. And I know that they're not going to lose their business. If they have $500,000 and their lease is 100,000, then yeah, we're going to expect payment, right? But if they haven't made anywhere near that, how on earth am I going to go and collect on lease? So there's a year. It's a yearly lease. It- I can't explain anymore that any. I mean, how much was the creamery per year?
We still haven't sat down and talked about my full lease, but I think it's about 25 grand, maybe somewhere in that ballpark, 30 grand.
To check.
You gotta.
So no, well, the most a business costs right now, the most it would cost, with the exception of the high earning businesses, is 100,000. I know that there's no business that's more than 100,000, and that would be maybe like the pawn shop because you know it's going to make money every single day for every single thing. If we were to have like a PDM, of course it would be more. If somebody owned PDM, it would cost a whole lot more than 100,000, correct? Because of the amount of money they make. So if you're not going to make that much money, it'd be kind of crazy to go over that amount. And again, if you just send a letter or if you just send a fax, anything, and just say, I need more time than 30 days, you don't have to provide a reason. I'll just say, okay. Like, it really isn't that deep kind of thing, you know? So you guys have the time to come up with that. In real life, and you know, you have real estate experience, people have to have a capital to start a business, right? They
No, I
should have
agree. That's
capital
what
to
I've
start a
been saying
business.
for sure.
Right. So if you're trying to open a business and you don't have the capital, that's when you're going to feel like that pressure. But if you have enough to pay the deposit, you essentially could start opening up your business and start making money. And if it takes you more than 30 days, it takes you more than 30 days. I mean, again, we're at the end of the day, we're people, we're players, and I'm not going to go and be like, this is the SBA, the government, you needed to give back your lease. Come on. You know, it's not the way I would work, and that's what I'm saying. The SBA is more of a midpoint between role play and what we need to do as far as putting content into the server. And there has to be some kind of fee for that because there's no monetary actual money fee that goes into us putting MLOs, right? So that is just how it is with the businesses. Now, if the issue people can't stay afloat is because they can't pay a monthly license and monthly alcohol licenses, then that's where you can help or they can help and they can change that legislation because in that we don't have a say in. You guys came up with that. That was all the city, you know, and you guys decide how much those fees are going to be. So that if it's a monthly thing where they're feeling pressure to pay that monthly thing, then that's where you guys could be a more help to each other as a community. Don't you think?
Oh no, it's not monthly, it's quarterly.
Yeah, well, I
But
don't know. So,
see, I would think the transparency in the wording of the regulations, because it does say 30 days. So anyone
yes,
just
and
reading
it's
that, it feels like flat out it's 30
Because
days.
ideally, it should be 30 days. And every time we go to sign a lease, I tell people if there's for any reason you need more time, all you have to do is send a letter. I mean, I don't understand. It's a game, and it's, you know, at the end of the day, it's not going to be a fully legally binding document. Um, the lease is there, and it should be ideally like if we have a server that has 100 people and business is going great, I don't think it would take more than 30 days for someone to make 50K out of a business, you know? But right now, there's no customers, there's no business. So there's no way that we're going to be completely 100% like, hey, we're going to take this from you. I mean, again, we can see how much money everybody is making. That's the part where, like, the fact that we are doing the server, like the fact that we run the server helps because I can see if people really can pay that yearly fee or not and hold them to it.
Yeah, I just feel like it's a discretionary thing. It's not like you say right now there's no customers. So the same way that we made an announcement at the town hall and it was even in the binder, we're waiving permit fees for anyone that's helping with the tourism project.
Hmm.
Just clarity and transparency. So it's just
Right.
like we understand there's no customers, so we're not going to be super sticklers about people paying their bills. Just having
Hmm.
something confirmation because no one has that confirmation. Like I know you, Jesse, you wouldn't rip somebody's business away from them. But like they were saying, like if they haven't had communication with you guys in months, or maybe it feels like someone's getting something and it's just like I've been waiting in the queue, I might not be privy to that discretion. So if I don't pay my 30 days, it feels like I'm going to get my business ripped away. Some
But
people can
if
feel
they
like
don't
that.
pay, but if they don't pay the 30 days, why wouldn't they communicate with us?
I mean,
So it's
people
up
have
to
a number of
me to,
reasons. So some of them, they could be embarrassed or they hope maybe if they don't say anything, it could go away. Like
I don't know. For
some people have
anybody who have a
anxiety.
business and you've taken more than 30 days, let me know if I didn't tell you that it was fine if you didn't pay it. I mean, I think everybody else understands that. It's something that hasn't come up. Um it hasn't been an issue. So I don't understand where, I mean, it's a contract. There's 30 days to pay the lease. It's a month, right?
Yeah.
But there's no customers right now. So obviously we're not going to fully enforce it, but when we do have it, that lease is there for 30 days. If I can see your bank account and you don't have anywhere near that money, how am I going to go and say, well, you need to pay right now? From where? How? What is that expectation? Unless, like, I don't know. But I think that the contract is the way it's written because that is the expectation. But because realistically, outside of the city, outside of role play, we don't have that ability to do that right now. We're not holding anybody into it or to it. But in the city, that is what the contract says, and that should be the expectation. But we're all people. We can all talk to each other, and at the end of the day, again, it's a game, right? So the contract is says what it says because that's what it's supposed to be, 30 days. And everybody gets told, if you need more time, just let me know.
Okay. And
Okay?
bringing up that it's a game, it brings me to the other half of the properties, the houses. So, looking at my character, uh, I would say I've had the job, a high paying government job, since January 2nd. And she cannot comfortably afford the high level houses. So I just feel like, what hope is there for any other civ? We want to avoid the grinder mentality, but the housing market makes that insanely hard. Like, if I wanted to purchase any of the homes in Lake Vinewood Estates, based on the rate that I've been earning money, it would take me 2 real years. And I get that it's slow burn, but that's insane. Like
And
you said, it's a
again, that's
game.
why I
You're
said
supposed to
that,
earn it
yeah,
outside. Like it's supposed to
but
be
that's why I
fun,
said
but
we're revising the money right now. The economy is something that's being looked at. So, I mean, we talked about this, and I agree with you, and that's why we're looking at it. It's not something that we don't agree with, and we think that it's not right. Yeah, you have been working the most out of any citizen in the city. You know that you put in the most hours, and you have a high paying job. So
I think I
yes, when we
compete with
talked about it, it
George.
makes sense.
I think I compete with George.
Well, pretty much, right? But it does make sense, and that's why we're looking at the economy. If not, if we weren't looking at it right now and we weren't doing anything about it, I would understand. But I mean, I've said it like 6 times right now. This is something that we're looking at right now. So whatever is right now in the city is not what it's going to be in 2 weeks or in 3 weeks. It's something that's being worked on.
Okay.
So unless we say, okay, this is what the economy is going to be, then yeah, give us the feedback again, because we're going to need to know, okay, does this work? Right? Like, okay, we made this change, so let us know now, is this better? Does this work? But we're not there yet. We haven't made those changes yet. So, I mean, we can't discuss this until the changes come in. And then again, I am going to need more feedback of like, hey, this is better, or this is worse, or like, you know, that's how it works. Like, we have to make those changes first so that you can let us know.
Okay, I just wanted clarity in that aspect because I know that you brought it up when pay was mentioned. So I
Hmm.
just wanted to make sure, like, when you said every aspect that money
Yep,
touches, it was
that
every
includes housing.
aspect.
Yep, that includes housing, that includes cars, that includes salaries, that includes every aspect of money touches. That includes things at the store and
Oh,
ingredients that people pay for. It's anything money touches is
oh,
part of
that's
the economy,
glorious. Because I
right?
think I pay the most for my food. I know I got a good deal with the storefront, but ice cream being $2 per pint, and I need it every time. And then
I thought
everyone
that
could
was
they
changed.
chop. It's
Wait,
$2
that
per
was
pint.
changed.
And then people that need like meat or something, they can cut it up into fives. Their money stretches so much further.
Yeah, no, I thought that was changed, but I'll look at it. I'll look at it again because I remember we changed that file, but maybe it reverted when we did that change back, and I don't look at it unless you guys tell me, so
Yeah.
I'll have to go look at it again. Thank you, though. Appreciated.
And then one more question.
Hmm.
Will there ever be the possibility for business owners to own their businesses the same way that homeowners can own their houses?
No, because if people leave the city or leave the server, we have to have a way to bring them back and have them owned by the SBA again. So you technically do own your business for that whole year, but that's not something that is going to be owned by you because it's government property. It's owned by the SBA, the government essentially. So your homes you can own once you pay it off, it's done. But a business is a lease. Like any business that you have, unless you own the property, you're leasing it out, right? When you open a business anywhere, you lease out the building and you pay your rent monthly, but this is a yearly lease. So no, we're not selling you the property, we're selling you the business lease.
Yes, I get that if you were like in the mall. But see,
Hmm.
I'm at a designated its own separate private storefront. So if I wanted my lease to be like a lease to own, I understand the price would go up. But the same worry that you have about people leaving the server, businesses going inactive, you could say the same thing about houses. Someone could purchase their dream home, they spent $500,000, they took it off the market. Now a year later somebody else came in. They've made the money, that person left the server, but that house is permanently off the market. In 1.0, we had this thing where if you were inactive for 90 days, your house got foreclosed upon. It was just back at Dynasty 8. That's how it is. Somebody else bought it. You weren't here. That's what
Yeah.
foreclosure is. So can't we do
Right.
something like that for
There's a big
businesses?
difference between somebody abandoning a house and somebody abandoning a business that serves other people in the community.
Yeah, the house isn't going to impact a group of people, a business is. So that's why we have to have more regulation around the business, because once a person leaves, we should be able to take that and reopen it again so the community has that resource available. So it's not going to ever be that you can buy the property, but you can definitely lease out the business.
So not even like a shorter foreclosure term. Like you could just never own a business. It will never
Mm-mm.
just be foreclosed.
The creamery is part of a big, like if you look at it, it's part of a big like area, like a shopping center, right? So it's
Kind of.
impossible for us to sell just that little piece of business when it's connected to all these other buildings. It's a whole property. So it wouldn't make any sense to sell you a piece of that entire property. So that's why it's a lease. Most of these businesses are only going to be leased, and that's kind of like the business model that we want. And that's what we're going to keep for businesses. But for homes, you guys can always outright own them, and that's yours. And sometimes people have issues too in real life, and they're going to be gone for 30 days or whatever time. We're not going to be so quick to just take their home because they put effort into that. They put their furniture into that. They have their memories in there too. I mean, it's an emotional thing. You know what I mean? Like, we want to be more cautious with homes. But again, if that home is abandoned, it's not going to affect the resources that other citizens enjoy, right? So businesses are leased. You essentially own it for the whole year, but you don't own the property. And that's just the business model that we came up with that works for us.
Okay.
Hmm.
And you can decorate your businesses if you get the property lines. That's why you get the property
Yes,
lines.
yes, definitely. You have decoration now. Dynasty 8 is there, so if you want that, just make an appointment with them, but they could definitely help you out with that.
Alright, well, thank you. That was all my questions.
No worries. I think we have one more, Frank.
Those property lines didn't cost anything to decorate those businesses, did they?
Yeah, they cost 5K because the real estate agents have to go there and put them down, so they get commission on those.
Hello.
Hello, Frank.
Hello. How can I say it? I heard a lot of good stuff from everyone that has spoken. As well as Kelly said, I'm kind of supporting the foreclosure on houses. But of course, it needs to be. How can I say it? Needs to be a specific time, like 90 days or 4 months. As well, you guys might need to send them a message like, "Hey, is it something going on?" or to address that. Have they left, or is it a specific reason why they are not active? Um, as well, for the media stuff that one of the other guys talked about. As Shep knows, I'm a staff member on a Norwegian RP server, and we have a own media team that posts stuff. All the stuff that is posted on the Discord, we have basically ownership over. We have made that specifically clear for everyone, so we can use it on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or whatever. I don't know if that is something that you guys might consider doing, or what you think about that.
I think that'd be something like a community vote. I wouldn't be comfortable making that decision for them, so I think we could put that up to a vote if they're okay with us using any content in the Discord, or if not. I mean, I would rather just have them let us know because I'm a private person. There's some things that I want to share with people that I know and people that are my friends, and some things that I just don't want anywhere, right? So I would definitely let that for the community to vote what they want to do. I mean, either way is fine with
Yeah,
us. Hmm.
yeah, I understand that. But if they post it on this Discord, it's like free to grab. Is what I'm meaning. It's not like if you send it to Shep, uh, it's it's not his property. It's yours. So if you post a video from you, uh, you have basically given away or given the server permission to use your content. Is what I'm meaning.
Hmm.
Um, my head is fucking slow right now. It's 4:30 in the morning.
Oh, wait, sorry.
um, but there is as well. I made a ticket some days ago. Uh, I know that Sai responded to it, and I have a tip for you guys there that we are especially using, and that is if you're giving away the ticket to, for example, the developers, a developer needs to claim it. Someone needs to answer that they have taken the responsibility of the ticket. I have the support ticket 1567, and it I haven't had any response in 2 days. So
So,
there.
I mean, I don't understand the question. I guess I'm saying.
Uh, when people are making tickets, if you're giving away if a staff member is, say, a moderator is giving the ticket away to a developer needs to answer to take the responsibility of that ticket. So the person that makes the ticket actually knows that, okay, it's being looked at by a developer or a moderator or wherever that staff member think that ticket actually goes to,
I'm not
if
on
that
the
makes sense.
development team, but the reason we don't do the claiming is because once we claim, the other people cannot see the ticket. And because we all have different time zones and different availability, we want to make sure that there's someone, like maybe I don't have an answer and Hickory does because he was there or he has more information. So when we claim a ticket, yeah, it goes to a certain person, but the rest of the staff can no longer see it. And we're very much working as a team. So we kind of all help each other out when it comes to tickets. Sometimes some might have the answer when it comes to developing, sometimes someone else might. And right now, we're adding more developers, so there's not really a lot of other people to take um the ticket. But I think it's just kind of a preference. I mean, I hear that you guys do it that way. That's just not the way we like to do it here.
And if you're talking about the ticket where you put two things in it, we did answer the one and fix the one. The second one, we haven't even started on that yet. That's why there's no answer, no response on it. Because we've had 2 weeks of trying to fix a crash. There's only one of me, and we have one other junior developer, and we're trying to hire other developers. So if it comes to something that doesn't affect the entire community, like crashing, it might be a couple days before you get a
Yeah.
response. But you will get a response.
And I
Yeah.
think
Okay.
you would get one initially when you open the ticket, and um, and if you notice too on the bug board, that's a really good helpful thing too. You can go look because if people are experiencing the same issue you had, a lot of times it'll be on the bug board, and you could see if like maybe that got resolved or not. That's kind of like how the community helps each other. Or you could also put it on the public support, and they're if it's something really easy, they can help you there too. But because we have a smaller team, we just prefer not to claim a ticket and leave that responsibility on one person because we want to be able to help each other when we need to. We don't want all the responsibility on just one person. I mean, we very much work as a team. I think it is so.
We've got
Um,
two other developers that we're hiring, so we will be able to do things more efficiently. But up to date, it's basically just been myself for a while.
Yes. Is sorry to hear that, but I don't mean like claiming the ticket, but say for example that since a developer has been tagged, you can answer under like, okay, I take responsibility for this, so I can see that, okay, a developer have seen my ticket. Don't
yeah,
claim it like on the bots. Don't claim the bots, but claim by saying, yeah, I take over this ticket, so I know that a developer have seen my ticket.
yeah, I know. I hear what you're saying. It's just a different process. I mean, we all work on the tickets together, so I mean, I hear that your
Yeah.
process is different, but that's just kind of like not the way we like to do it here. But I appreciate the feedback, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have been here a while, so I see that you're doing a hell of a good a job as well.
I appreciate it.
Especially especially after the 1.0. I have seen all the updates. Haven't been in it since the other day. I have been on the server or the Discord, but I haven't been on the server. First time this week, basically. Um, love the concept. That was everything that basically brought me here. Um, but yeah, I have forgot half of the things I was going to say. But thank you for the response, anyways.
No worries. It happens to me a lot too when I have things to say and then I'm in the spot and then I forget. So appreciate it though. Appreciate the
And if you
feedback.
remember, just send us a management ticket because we see every ticket, no matter which ones they are.
Yeah. That's no problem. But thank you for your time, anyways.
Thank you too. I think that's all the people we had for questions or needed to say. I mean, if you guys have anything else before we close out, I mean, I hope we got stuff answered for you. We're really gonna be working on the tourism project, kind of like in city, off city. If you guys, Kelly talked to you about the ideas and stuff like that. Oh, there's one more person question, Julio Carlo. But yeah, once you guys, again, tickets are the best way to reach us. We never mind. We never get upset that you open one because that's the only way we'll know things, you know. And there's so many people here, so many things happening that we will miss stuff unless you bring it to our attention. Go ahead, Julio Carlo.
Yeah, so like the TVs was it
I said he was gonna do that today. He was gonna do it today.
type shit. Alright.
I said I'd look at it.
He'll look at it today.
That script is very old, so I'll have to see what we can do.
Bro, we need our TVs, bro.
I know.
You feel me?
Yeah. If you
We
wouldn't
we
lose
had a
your
lot of good
remote
RP with
control.
that. Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Okay. Thanks for
Yeah,
that.
y'all doing a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
for sure.
Um, yeah, TVs are getting like that. I mean, that's something really fun. A lot of you guys watch cartoons and stuff, and I want to watch some old stuff. So yeah, they'll get like that. That's one of those like quality of life things. The old clothing pack got taken out because we did notice that there are some things missing, like the base game stuff, and a lot of us didn't like the super high def wrinkles. So we're gonna go and take that back, fix it up, and then once it's ready to come back, we'll put it in. But for now, you're back to the old stuff. Let's just keep it that way until we can make sure that we don't age 10 years when it comes in. That's the only thing that we're trying to make sure, and make sure that things are not kind of like the branded stuff we want to get rid of, and the stuff that's not too much of like lore accurate. And then let's see one more thing I was going to say about clothing. Oh, when you guys see things doubled in there, it's basically because it's saving a space for future clothing. This way, when we add new clothing, we could just take one of those double spaces and it won't move all the clothing around to where you have to do your closet. So that's one of the things that I learned, that when you see that like there's like number 77 to number 80 or 85 have the same item, it's because it's a placeholder. And that way when new clothing comes in, you won't have to redo your entire wardrobe. So it's kind of trying to help in a way where it leaves room for adding new things because we're not going to have the same things all the time. It's just something to know. Um, this one probably maybe I'm gonna say it gives it like 3 weeks or so. Give it 3 weeks for this clothing pack because we're basically starting from scratch, so it just all gets done correctly. So 3 weeks, make maybe one a few. What I've been doing is I pick an outfit and I kind of change colors. So give it at least I'll give you at least 3 weeks, and then after the 3 weeks, I'll give you a heads up of when we're thinking of putting it in. That way you guys can take pictures and keep stuff that you like and things like that. I think we got everything. I think we got everybody. So yeah, we took out the clothing update for now. It'll be back maybe after 3 years. I'm 3 years. Oh my god, 3 weeks. It'll be after 3 weeks. And hopefully by then it'll be fixed. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for your time, I guess. And again, thank you for the support. You guys are amazing. There's some of you who have put so much time into the server, and we appreciate it. And that's why we're gonna keep putting in our time too. I mean, it's well deserved, and we know that things are going to definitely get better, and we're excited for new things to come. And again, no meeting is ever going to end and we're closing, so leave that behind. That's not going to happen here. Thank you guys, and take care. Bye bye.